Hello everyone, it's Brian in Toronto, and today, after a lengthy delay, I'm finally going to do a response to PC31, the Vinyl Policeman's Kinks Thread. I'm sure many of you know, if you know Mike's channel, that he is involved in a Kinks tribute band or Kinks cover band. So this seems to me to be a bit of field research. Maybe not, but we'll see. So I should say at the outset that I am not a hardcore Kinks fan. I've liked what I've heard. I put them in the same category as the Beatles, and that is bands that I'm too young to really be into, because by the time I became aware and interested in music, there were different bands around, and so I was gravitating towards things like The Clash and that kind of thing, and less so to these older classic bands. But I do like what I've heard, so I don't have the biggest Kinks collection in the world, but I'm going to do my best. So there's 6 questions here, and the first is, what Kinks song would you really like to hear at a Kinks gig? And I don't have the record for this, but one song that would be good to hear at a Kinks gig or a Kinks cover band gig would be A Well-Respected Man. That's a track I've always really liked, and I think that would work well. Yeah, I think that would be a good one. Number 2, what is your favorite Kinks album? I'm sort of just following on what I said about me not being a giant Kinks fan. I'm going to choose a record from the ones that I have. So there may be other ones that would leap to people's mind before this one, but I just don't have them. So my favorite Kinks record of the ones I own is the Kink Controversy. I'm sure Mike might call this the Kink Controversy. Maybe. This is the one that has Where Have All the Good Times Gone? This came out in 1965, and bizarrely, this is a West German copy. I don't know why I have a West German copy, but I do. This is like a pressing from the 70s, and I think this is, of the ones I have, I think that's pretty good. Your favorite Kinks song covered by another artist? A bunch of things occurred to me, because they do seem to have a lot of cover versions. I almost went with a different band, but at the last moment I switched to this. This is Phil Manzanera's side project from Roxy Music. This is called 801 Live, and you'll see Brian Eno is also involved with this. He was also in Roxy Music, and some other people listed there. This is a really interesting live recording from 1976. They do some Eno tracks, some Manzanera tracks. On side 1, there's something called TNK, that's Tomorrow Never Knows by the Beatles, and the last track on side 2 is You Really Got Me. And then they finish with Third Uncle, which is a favorite Eno song of mine. But this is a really interesting record, and I think it's maybe one that people haven't mentioned before, so that's a good cover version. Let's see, number 4. Name your favorite underrated or unnoticed Kinks song. Yeah, that was tough for me, but again, I restricted it to records that I have in my collection, and I thought I would choose, or I decided to choose, a track from this record, Sleepwalker, from 77, and the last track on side 2 it's called Life Goes On, which I'm sure Kinks fans know. I just don't think it was one that had a lot of radio airplay. I don't remember having heard it until I listened to this record. So I think that's one that is probably a good one. Let's see. Number 5. Show a Kinks item in physical format. This reminded me that I used to have a bunch of Kinks cassettes, and for some reason I gave away all my cassettes, but I'm going to show this one, and I think I'm showing this one because I am pretty confident that this low-budget record is the first Kinks record I ever had. It fits the timeline for me. This is probably it, and I think people know the track Low Budget probably. Last question. What's your favorite Kinks song? Again, that's a really tough one, but one that has always appealed to me, that I've always really loved, is Waterloo Sunset. And it reminds me that I should have tried to find that RSD release from, I think it was from last year, Waterloo Sunset, but I don't have it on vinyl or a CD either, but that's probably my favorite Kinks song. So we did this in under 5 minutes. I'll put a link below to Mike's channel. You should all check it out. He's one of my favorite channels in the VC. So thanks once again for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.